Emily Lawson, a 34-year-old devoted mother and passionate artist, had built a life steeped in quiet joy within the gentle embrace of a suburban neighborhood. Her home, a modest two-story house with soft cream siding and ivy climbing its corners, radiated warmth the moment one stepped inside. The scent of fresh paint mingled with the faint, lingering aroma of acrylics and charcoal from her many art projects. The living room was a sanctuary of memories, framed photographs of birthday parties, family vacations, and candid moments adorned the walls, each telling a story of love and togetherness. In one corner of the room, an easel stood proudly, draped with a half-finished canvas that captured the morning light filtering through the large bay window. Tubes of paint, brushes of various sizes, and sketchpads lay scattered across a nearby table, evidence of Emily's constant creative energy. The vibrant colors of her latest works contrasted beautifully with the soft pastels of the walls, creating an atmosphere that was both lively and comforting. Emily's life was defined by her dual roles as a mother and artist, roles that intertwined seamlessly yet demanded her full attention. Her two children, Lily and Noah, brought life to the house with their boundless curiosity and infectious laughter. Lily, 7 years old with her mother's hazel eyes and a mop of unruly curls, was endlessly fascinated by her mother's paintings, often sitting at Emily's feet during long afternoons of creation. Noah, a boisterous 4-year-old with a grin that could brighten the gloomiest day, had an unyielding fascination with the messy aspects of art, from finger paints to splattered canvases. Their home was more than just a place to live. It was a vibrant ecosystem where love, creativity, and family thrived. The kitchen, with its well-worn wooden table, was the heart of their daily rituals. Mornings began with the clatter of cereal bowls and the scent of freshly brewed coffee, while evenings often concluded with Emily sketching quietly as the children played nearby, their chatter weaving a comforting soundtrack. Despite the constant motion that came with raising young children, Emily had carved out pockets of time for herself, nurturing her artistic spirit with quiet determination. Early mornings before the sun rose were her favorite, when the world was still and the only sound was the scratch of her brush against canvas. These moments were sacred, a time to reflect and express emotions that words often failed to capture. Neighbors often admired Emily's ability to balance the demands of motherhood with her creative pursuits. At the local community center, she taught art classes for children, sharing her passion and encouraging young imaginations to flourish. Her gentle demeanor and patient guidance made her a beloved figure, someone who inspired not just through her work, but through her kindness and dedication. The suburban neighborhood itself was a comforting backdrop to Emily's life. Tree-lined streets curved gently, dotted with houses that bore the marks of families growing and changing over the years. Children's bicycles leaned against porches, and the occasional bark of a dog punctuated the afternoon air. Community events, like weekend farmers markets and seasonal festivals, brought neighbors together, fostering a sense of belonging that Emily treasured deeply. Within this serene setting, Emily's family formed the core of her universe. Her husband, Mark, was a steady presence, supportive and caring, balancing his demanding job with a devotion to their children. Their partnership was a foundation of mutual respect and shared dreams, though the pressures of daily life often tested their patience and resilience. Emily's days flowed with a familiar rhythm: school runs, art projects, grocery shopping, and bedtime stories. Though the routine could be exhausting, it was filled with moments of profound love and connection. She found joy in small victories: Noah's first bold brushstroke, Lily's proud smile after finishing a drawing, Mark's quiet thank you for dinner prepared after a long day. Her art, too, was a reflection of her life: vivid, emotional, and deeply personal. Each piece she created told a story, capturing fleeting feelings and the essence of moments that might otherwise slip away. For Emily, painting was not just a hobby but a vital form of expression, a way to process the complexities of motherhood, love, and the inevitable challenges they faced. Despite the busyness of her days, Emily never lost sight of the beauty in the ordinary. She treasured the softness of a child's hand in hers, the glow of sunlight on freshly cut grass, and the simple pleasure of a quiet evening spent in creative solitude. These fragments of life wove together to form a tapestry that was at once delicate and resilient. As spring blossomed around her, Emily felt a deep sense of gratitude for the life she had nurtured. It was not perfect. There were struggles and moments of doubt, but it was hers, filled with meaning and surrounded by those she loved. The walls of her home held stories yet to be told, and her heart was open to the possibilities that each new day would bring. In the gentle hum of her suburban world, Emily Lawson was a woman grounded by love, driven by creativity, and sustained by the simple, profound joys of family life. Her story was just beginning, a delicate balance of hope and challenge, painted with the vibrant colors of everyday existence. The night had settled into a calm stillness when the first faint flicker of orange light caught Emily's eye. She had been finishing a sketch in her studio, a small room adjacent to the kitchen, filled with canvases and brushes, when a sharp crack shattered the quiet. At first, she thought it might be a branch snapping outside, but then the acrid scent of smoke drifted in through the slightly ajar window, stirring an uneasy tension in her chest. Mark was already asleep upstairs, and the children's rooms were bathed in soft moonlight. Emily's heart pounded as she hurried through the hallway, the faint glow growing brighter with each step. When she reached the living room, the source of the light became terrifyingly clear. Flames were licking at the edge of the curtains, casting dancing shadows on the walls. The fire had started near the front window, its hungry tendrils reaching out with alarming speed. Panic surged through Emily, but her maternal instincts kicked in instantly. She rushed to the children's bedrooms, shaking Lily awake with whispered reassurances, then gently lifting Noah from his crib. Their eyes, wide and confused, searched hers for answers that she didn't have. Mark stirred from his sleep, alerted by the smoke detector's shrill alarm, and within moments, the family was gathering their essential belongings, moving swiftly yet cautiously through the smoke-filled rooms. Outside, the night air was cool and sharp against the heat radiating from the house. Neighbors emerged from their homes, drawn by the glow and the sound of sirens approaching in the distance. Emily clutched her children tightly, wrapping them in blankets offered by a kind neighbor, while Mark dialed emergency services with trembling hands. The fire trucks arrived with urgency, firefighters leaping into action as water hoses hissed and sprayed against the inferno. Emily watched in helpless horror as the flames devoured the home she had so lovingly nurtured. The walls that had held laughter and tears, the corners that had witnessed countless family moments, were now engulfed in a relentless blaze. Her eyes stung not only from the smoke but from the profound sense of loss settling over her like a heavy shroud. The firefighters worked tirelessly, battling the fire's fury, but the damage was swift and unforgiving. Within what felt like an eternity wrapped in mere minutes, the house's structure began to collapse, beams giving way and embers floating into the night air like dark stars. Emily's heart ached with every crack and crash, the memories housed within those walls seeming to disappear in the flames. Amidst the chaos, a neighbor approached Emily, offering quiet words and a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Yet the shock numbed much of her awareness, leaving her feeling suspended between disbelief and despair. She could barely process the reality that her home, her sanctuary, was now a charred skeleton beneath the night sky. In the hours that followed, the family found refuge in the nearby community center, a place transformed into an emergency shelter. Blankets, warm drinks, and caring volunteers surrounded them, but none could replace the sense of security that had been stripped away. Lily curled into Emily's side, her small body trembling, while Noah's restless movements reflected his confusion and fear. Emily's mind raced with the innumerable practicalities ahead. Where to live, how to replace lost possessions, and how to explain the devastation to her children in ways they could understand. Yet beneath the surface of logistical concern was a deeper, aching grief, a profound sorrow for the life that had been so thoroughly altered in mere moments. The fire had not only consumed their home, but also destroyed Emily's art studio and nearly all of her paintings. Canvases that had captured years of emotion, moments, and dreams were reduced to ash and smoke. The loss felt deeply personal, like a part of her very soul had been scorched away. She grappled with the overwhelming emptiness left behind, struggling to imagine how to move forward from such devastation. Mark stayed close, offering quiet support even as he wrestled with his own grief. Together, they tried to shield their children from the worst of the pain, but the weight of the night's events was impossible to hide. Lily's questions came softly but persistently. Why did our home burn? Where will we live now? And Emily's answers, though honest, were laced with the uncertainty that gripped them all. As dawn approached, casting a pale light over the smoldering remains, Emily found a moment to step outside. The neighborhood was waking to the news, neighbors gathering with expressions of sympathy and concern. The fire's aftermath was stark and brutal, a raw wound in the familiar landscape of their lives. Yet amidst the rubble, there were glimpses of humanity's quiet resilience. Volunteers brought food and clothing, neighbors offered spare rooms and comforting words, and local officials began coordinating assistance. Though the path ahead was daunting, Emily sensed a fragile thread of hope woven through the darkness. That first morning, as she held her children close, Emily allowed herself a moment to cry, not just for what was lost, but for the uncertain future that stretched before them. Fear and heartbreak mingled with a stubborn flicker of determination. She knew the journey to rebuild would be long and painful, but beneath the ash and ruin, the roots of her family remained strong. The fire had taken much, but it had not taken everything. And in that truth, Emily found the smallest seed of strength to hold on to as the day began. The days following the fire passed in a blur of exhaustion and grief, yet beneath the surface, a quiet resilience began to take root within Emily. The initial shock had dulled, replaced by an aching emptiness that settled deep in her chest. Their family was safe, but the void left by the loss of their home, and everything it held, loomed large and unyielding. Emily found herself navigating a new reality, one where the familiar rhythms of daily life were fractured and uncertain. The children's laughter no longer echoed through their own rooms, and the comforting walls that had sheltered countless memories were gone. Yet, even as the weight of grief pressed down, moments of kindness and connection began to pierce the darkness. The community rallied around them in ways both tangible and intangible. Neighbors brought meals, donations of clothes, and offers of temporary shelter. Volunteers from the local church organized drives to gather essentials, while friends set up fundraisers to help with immediate needs. Emily was overwhelmed by the generosity that flowed toward them, a reminder that even in loss, they were not alone. Each day, Emily found small sparks of hope amid the chaos. One afternoon, while sorting through a few salvaged belongings at a friend's house, she discovered a charred but recognizable sketchbook. Its pages, though singed at the edges, still held faint impressions of her pencil strokes. Holding the fragile book, Emily felt a flicker of the passion and creativity that had always defined her, a tether to the person she was beyond the tragedy. Reconnecting with her art became a lifeline. In the cramped spare room where they were temporarily staying, Emily set up a makeshift studio with borrowed supplies. The first few attempts to paint were hesitant, almost painful, as if the colors themselves carried the weight of loss. But gradually, the act of creation offered a refuge, a way to express feelings too complex for words, to channel grief into something tangible. Her children, too, found solace in creativity. Lily, inspired by her mother's determination, began to draw vivid pictures of their family and home, imagining a future where they could rebuild. Noah, with his boundless energy, delighted in finger painting, his small hands leaving colorful imprints on every available surface. These moments of artistic play brought laughter back into their days, a balm for weary hearts. Emily's vulnerability deepened as she allowed herself to lean on those around her. Conversations with close friends became spaces of honest sharing, where tears were met with understanding, and fears were voiced without judgment. Mark, though struggling with his own sorrow, remained a steadfast partner, his quiet presence a source of strength. The community center, once merely a shelter, transformed into a hub of support and connection. Emily attended group meetings for families affected by the fire, where stories of loss and resilience intertwined. Hearing others share their journeys helped her feel less isolated, reminding her that healing was a process shared by many. Despite these rays of hope, there were moments when despair threatened to overwhelm. Nights were hardest, quiet stretches when the absence of their home felt most profound. Emily wrestled with feelings of helplessness and frustration, grappling with the enormity of what lay ahead. Questions without answers circled her mind. How would they rebuild? Could she reclaim her artistic voice? Would her children heal from this upheaval? Yet, even in the depths of vulnerability, Emily found strength in the small acts of kindness that punctuated their days. A neighbor's offer to watch the children for an afternoon gave her precious time to paint. A stranger's heartfelt note of encouragement arrived unexpectedly in the mail, a reminder that compassion existed beyond familiar faces. These gestures, simple but profound, rekindled a sense of possibility. As spring edged toward summer, Emily began to weave hope into the fabric of her daily life. She volunteered to help organize a community art show aimed at raising funds for families affected by the fire, channeling her energy into something constructive. The project connected her with others who shared her desire to turn tragedy into renewal, fostering a collective spirit of healing. Through these experiences, Emily's perspective shifted. The fire, devastating as it was, became a catalyst for growth rather than an endpoint. She recognized that grief was not a linear path but a mosaic of moments, some dark, some filled with light. Embracing this complexity allowed her to move forward with a newfound compassion for herself and others. Her art evolved alongside her healing. The canvases she painted now bore traces of loss and hope intertwined. Bold strokes mingled with delicate details, colors both muted and vibrant. Each piece told a story of transformation, a testament to the human capacity to find beauty amid brokenness. Emily also nurtured her children's emotional well-being with gentle patience. She listened carefully to their fears and dreams, validating their feelings while encouraging resilience. Bedtime stories became opportunities to weave narratives of courage and renewal, planting seeds of optimism in their young hearts. Mark and Emily's partnership deepened as they faced the challenges ahead together. They leaned on each other in new ways, learning to communicate openly about their fears and hopes. Their shared commitment to family and healing anchored them through turbulent times, a reminder that love could endure even the harshest storms. In quiet moments, Emily reflected on the delicate balance between grief and hope. She understood that healing was not about forgetting what was lost, but about honoring it, while embracing the future. This realization became a guiding light, illuminating the path ahead. The journey through mourning was neither swift nor easy, but Emily's resolve remained steady. She was learning to hold space for both sorrow and joy, recognizing that each had a place in the tapestry of life. With each brushstroke, each act of kindness received or given, she rebuilt not only her home but also her spirit. In the face of devastation, Emily Lawson began to rediscover the strength that resided within and around her. The strength to mourn, to create, and ultimately to hope. A turning point came on an unexpectedly warm afternoon, when the sun cast golden light over the community park where Emily had organized the art project. The idea had sprouted from a desire to create something tangible, a symbol of recovery and unity that could help mend the invisible wounds left by the fire. The project involved families affected by the disaster, each contributing a piece to a collective mural that would be displayed in the town hall. As Emily stood before the blank canvas stretched across a makeshift frame, her heart swelled with a mixture of nerves and determination. The faces of her children, Mark, and neighbors flashed through her mind, reminders of why this moment mattered. The mural was more than art. It was a declaration that from loss, hope could bloom. Volunteers arrived steadily, bringing their own pieces of the story. Children handed over colorful drawings, adults shared painted panels filled with words of encouragement, and together, they began weaving a tapestry that spoke of resilience. Emily's own contribution was a vibrant section depicting a phoenix rising, its wings unfurled in flames of red, orange, and gold. Throughout the day, laughter and conversation filled the air, blending with the soft rustle of leaves and the distant hum of the town's everyday life. Emily found herself absorbed in the energy, a warmth spreading through her chest that had little to do with the sun. The mural grew, each brushstroke a testament to the community's collective strength. At one point, Lily tugged at Emily's hand, pulling her toward a corner where a small cluster of children painted side by side. Watching her daughter's focused expression, Emily felt a surge of pride and hope. Here was a moment of normalcy, a thread of continuity in the fabric of their disrupted lives. As evening approached, the mural was nearly complete, a kaleidoscope of colors and stories that captured the pain, courage, and optimism of everyone involved. Emily stepped back, taking in the full scope of their work. The image was imperfect, vibrant, and alive, a mirror of their journey. In that quiet moment, Emily allowed herself to fully embrace the complex emotions swirling within her. Grief was still present, a shadow at the edges of her heart, but it no longer dominated the landscape. Instead, it had found a place alongside hope, courage, and renewal. The community's response to the project was overwhelming. The mural became a symbol of healing, drawing visitors and fostering conversations about resilience and recovery. Emily found solace in the connections forged through shared experience, realizing that the bonds built in adversity were among the strongest. This project also became a turning point in Emily's personal journey. The act of creating alongside others rekindled a sense of purpose that had dimmed since the fire. She found herself inspired to pursue new artistic endeavors, exploring themes of transformation and endurance in her work. Mark noticed the change in her, offering quiet encouragement and a renewed partnership. They began discussing plans for rebuilding their home, balancing dreams with practical steps forward. Their shared vision became a beacon, guiding them through uncertainty. Emily's children, too, flourished in this atmosphere of hope. Lily's drawings grew more confident, her imagination fueled by the stories they shared during the mural's creation. Noah's laughter returned with abandon, his energy a lively counterpoint to the solemnity of recent months. One evening, as Emily tucked her children into bed, Lily whispered, "Mom, do you think our new home will have a special place for the mural?" The question, simple yet profound, encapsulated the hope that now threaded through their lives. Emily smiled softly, kissing her daughter's forehead and reassuring her that they would carry the spirit of the mural wherever they went. In the quiet that followed, Emily reflected on the journey from devastation to this moment of fragile joy. She recognized that healing was not about erasing pain, but about weaving it into a broader tapestry of life. The mural stood as a testament to that truth, beautiful, imperfect, and enduring. This renewed sense of strength and connection transformed Emily's approach to life. She embraced the challenges ahead with courage, grounded in the knowledge that she was supported by love and community. The fire had altered their path, but it had not defined it. Through the collective effort of rebuilding, not just homes but spirits, Emily found a deeper appreciation for the resilience that lay within herself and those around her. The experience taught her that recovery was a journey taken together, marked by small victories and shared hopes. As the days lengthened toward summer, Emily continued to nurture her family and creativity with a renewed spirit. The mural was not an end but a beginning, a symbol of the possibility that even after loss, life could be rich with meaning and beauty. In this chapter of her life, Emily Lawson embodied the delicate balance of holding grief and hope side by side, choosing to move forward with strength and grace. The path ahead remained uncertain, but she walked it with a heart open to healing and the promise of new beginnings. The process of rebuilding unfolded slowly, marked by steady progress and moments of reflection that deepened Emily's understanding of resilience. The once charred lot where their home had stood began to take shape anew, framed by the careful hands of builders and the hope that lingered in every beam raised. Emily watched as walls rose, windows were set, and the familiar silhouette of their house re-emerged against the sky, each step a tangible reminder that renewal was possible. Inside, Emily and Mark poured their energy into creating a space that would nurture their family's healing. They chose soft colors for the walls, incorporating spaces dedicated to creativity. A new studio for Emily, brighter and more open than before, where light would flood the room and inspire fresh works. The children's rooms were designed with care, filled with playful details and places to dream, a sanctuary from the upheaval they had endured. Emily found that the act of rebuilding extended beyond the physical. It was a process of reclaiming her identity as an artist, mother, and partner, weaving together the threads of past and present into a tapestry of hope. The ashes of loss had fertilized new growth, allowing her to approach life with a deeper appreciation for its fragility and beauty. Throughout this time, the community's support remained a constant source of strength. Neighbors stopped by with meals and encouraging words, friends offered help with childcare, and the local art center provided opportunities for Emily to exhibit her evolving work. These connections reinforced the lesson that healing was not a solitary journey, but one shared with others who cared deeply. Emily's art continued to evolve, embodying the complexity of her experience. Her canvases told stories of transformation, brushstrokes that captured both sorrow and joy, shadows and light intertwined. Exhibitions of her work drew attention not only for their aesthetic beauty, but for the emotional honesty they conveyed, resonating with those who had faced their own trials. Her children thrived in this environment of love and stability. Lily's creativity blossomed, her drawings filled with imagination and hope, while Noah's boundless energy found outlets in play and exploration. The family's bond grew stronger, fortified by the challenges they had overcome together. Mark and Emily's relationship deepened as well, shaped by shared resilience and mutual respect. They communicated more openly, supporting each other's dreams and fears with patience and understanding. Their partnership became a cornerstone of stability, a safe harbor amid life's uncertainties. In moments of quiet reflection, Emily often thought back to the night of the fire, the fear, the loss, and the profound grief that followed. Yet she also remembered the kindness that had surrounded them, the strength they had found within themselves, and the community that had lifted them up. These memories shaped her perspective, reinforcing the belief that even in the darkest times, hope could endure. Emily's journey taught her that resilience was not about returning to what once was, but about embracing change with courage and grace. She learned to celebrate the small victories, the first brushstroke on a new canvas, a child's laughter echoing through the halls, a shared smile with Mark after a long day. These moments, seemingly ordinary, held extraordinary power. As their new home neared completion, Emily felt a profound sense of gratitude. The walls that now stood were imbued with more than wood and paint. They held the spirit of a family that had faced adversity and chosen to rise. The house was a symbol of endurance, a testament to the love and hope that carried them forward. With the move-in day approaching, Emily found herself filled with anticipation and a quiet confidence. The past was woven into every corner of their lives, but it no longer defined them. Instead, it served as a foundation upon which they could build a future rich with possibility. In the weeks that followed, the Lawsons settled into their new rhythm, creating traditions and memories that honored both their history and their growth. Emily continued to nurture her art, her family, and the community that had become an extended part of her life. Each day brought new challenges and joys, all embraced with the strength born from their shared journey. Emily Lawson had come to understand that true strength lay not in avoiding hardship, but in facing it with an open heart. Through loss, she discovered a deeper well of courage and compassion, guiding her toward a life defined by love, creativity, and unwavering hope. The lessons learned from the ashes shaped not only her art but her very way of being. In choosing to move forward, Emily embraced the fullness of her experience, the pain, the healing, and the beauty that emerged in between. Her story was one of transformation, illustrating the enduring power of resilience and the human capacity to find meaning beyond loss. With her family by her side and her spirit renewed, Emily stepped into this new chapter with grace and determination. The journey had changed her, but it had also revealed the limitless potential within, a testament to the strength that arises when one chooses to keep moving forward, no matter the obstacles. If you loved the story, like the video and subscribe.